Hello guys, this is I do what ifs. And I'll be doing what if Belle Cornell had sunshine. So basically I'm trying to find the what if. So what if Belle was the son of Hades? That'll be one I'm doing. I don't really know about the solo leveling thing because it wouldn't really work out. It's not that I'm not. I don't. It's not like I don't want to do it. It's just that they already have like a leveling system in basically how do I say this? They already have a leveling system within Danmachi. So yeah, I mean, this person right here. Sorry, this person right here. Come to the comment sections of this video, and you could pick out a different what if. But yeah. Now, basically, I'll be doing what if, this one right here. What if Belle was the son of Hades? I'll be doing what if Belle had a level booster or an XP booster, which is basically Belle. He gains more XP, and yeah, I'll be doing. I don't really know about this one. It just doesn't make any sense. But you too, you can go to you can come to the comment section of this video and put in a what if. And I'll see if I can do it. But hold on, you guys. But anyway, guys, let's just get started. Now, I just found out that Belle Cornell was the grandson of Zeus. So that is very easy that will help me a lot in this what if. Now, Belle, he will be prideful, and he will have an ability that allows him to store sunlight in his body, so he can use it at night or in dungeons, because you wouldn't really be able to use it. Now, Belle is his strongest during noon, just like Escanor. He has all those abilities. Now, basically, Belle, he's 14 now, and he's sitting with his grandpa Zeus. Now, Zeus is telling him that he'll meet the love of his life in a dungeon, which Belle doesn't really understand. He's like, I'll meet the love of my life in a dungeon? Why is that, Grandpa? And then the grandpa would say, because that's how life works. And Belle, because he's Zeus and he's like the god of everything, he's like the almighty king, he's like, I guess since you say so, but how will I know that she's the one? Now he would say, you have to save her within the dungeon, and she'll basically want to give you her all. And basically, Belle's like, alright, Grandpa. As he says, alright, Belle, there's a goddess in the city of, I forgot what the name of the city was, but just roll with me. He says that there's a goddess in that city who needs your assistance. Her name is Hestia. She's one of my goddesses. Basically, one of the 3 version goddesses. Yes, I did look up if Hestia was a god, because I was curious, okay? So, yeah. Now, Belle would look over, he's like, one of your goddesses. And he says, and it'll be a perfect chance to see, or to find that special person, Belle. As he would basically tap on Belle's shoulder while laughing. Now, Belle, he's already had sunshine for a long time. It's a magical power that Zeus gave to him personally. So, yeah. Now, Belle isn't, Artemis is the god of sun, but I would say that Belle's like right below Artemis. I'm pretty sure Artemis is the god of sun. Please tell me if I'm, saying something wrong here. But I don't really know much about, mythology. So, yeah. Now, Belle Cornell, he will have these 2 swords that you see in the picture, but not at the moment. So, yeah. He'll have this one down here to represent the Sacred Axe Rita, but it's just gonna be like a sword. And he'll get this one when he meets that one guy who, makes magical swords. So, yeah. Now, Belle, he's like, basically Zeus is like, oh yeah, she's also a kind of an oddball, so if she acts weird around you, that's because she already fell in love with you. Now, basically Belle's like, interesting. Alright, I'll be going now, Grandpa. As he's like, you find the perfect one, Belle. Belle's like, yeah, as he walks off. Now, basically after Belle reached the city of, I forgot what it was called, but roll with it, he would, look for Hestia, which he would run into her working at a part-time job. Now he's like, are you Goddess Hestia? And she'd be like, yeah, I am. What's it to you? Now Belle was like, I want to join your familia. And she's like, really? You'll join my familia? Basically, excitedly. And Belle's like, yeah. Now he does carry the sacred axe of Rita, and it's unsheathed, so people see that. And Belle has an armor of his own. I would say that he has the exact same armor in this picture, just, for reasons. So, yeah. Now she's like, this guy must be a pretty rich or powerful, I'm pretty sure they're adventurers. So, yeah. So she's like, I just got myself a catch. She's like, why would you want to join a guild, or basically a familia like mine? Which, basically, Belle's like, because Zeus ordered me to, or not Zeus, he wouldn't give out that information, but he's like, because someone told me, or basically asked me to. She's like, someone did? Whoever they are, they're the best, basically. So she's like, yeah, alright, come with me. Now, she would take Belle to her, place. This is basically 6 months before the start of the anime. So, that's because Belle started adventuring 6 months. So, he would start adventuring, like, right now before, yeah. So, basically, she would, give him the mark of her familia. Belle would join the familia, and she would check his stats. Now, she's basically rolling down them, and she says, sunshine, and she's basically, flinching. She's like, what is a mortal like you doing something like this? Now, there are, basically the 4 archangels. They used to exist, but they're just, normal, familia owners now. So, yeah. No, she's like, what are you doing with sunshine? That's a ability that only goddesses, or basically gods or goddesses have. Now, Belle's like, what's it to you? He's like, whatever, just don't question it. As he, puts his shirt back on, and let me pause it right here, guys. Yeah, I was just basically singing What Is Love for some reason. It just, popped into my mind. I was like, have to sing it. So, yeah. Now, basically, after putting his, shirt and stuff back on, he'll be telling his guys that he'll be going off to a dungeon. And Belle would go there as he would basically, if you're wondering what Belle's level is, because sunshine increases, which Belle, he still will be at his weakest during the night, but he does have the ability to store sunlight, so he wouldn't really be at his weakest. I mean, she'll notice that he's not as cocky as he is during the, she already knows what's going to happen at night because she is a goddess, and she would have this information. Now, she's like, I wonder what this guy would be like at night. As he would, grab his, I'm just going to say the sacred sword Rita, just for my sanity. And this is a weapon that, Zeus himself gave it to him. So he would, put this thing on his shoulder as he starts to walk out. Now she's like, I'll get you a co-worker. And Belle's like, thank you, Hestia-sama. And he would walk out. She's like, that kid. Now, basically, Belle would walk to the dungeon as... Did I say what level Belle was? Or did I skip that? If I didn't, Belle is level 5 at the moment. The reason being is because he has sunshine, which increases his level, meaning that, at nighttime he would be level 2 or 1, which if... I'm going to say level 2 because it's Belle Crenelle, he has to be strong. So, yeah. Which barely anyone is at level 2, and it's basically extremely hard to level up in the Dan Machi universe. So being level 2 is basically good. So I'm gonna say that he's level 6 now instead, and his level will drop down to 2 when he's at nighttime. Now in the dungeon where there is less sunshine, or there is no sun, Belle would be around level 5 or level 4. So yeah. Actually, I'm just gonna, yeah, that's how that works. So, after taking in some sunlight, basically standing outside of the dungeon, he would walk in. Now, a couple of people from the Soma familiar are like, that kid looks rich, let's go give him a talking to. So they would run in after him, and when Belle is basically fighting off monsters, he's basically destroying them with one hit. Now, Belle's getting a little bit cocky because, remember, he's prideful. Or, not cocky, he's prideful. So, he will continue to drop levels, which the people from the Soma familiar are like, there's no way in hell. He's killing these monsters with just one slash. Now, Bell is basically not showing off his magical ability yet, which is, Cruel Sun. So, basically, after chopping down a couple of monsters, remember, basically the story that, this What If right now is taking place 6 months before he meets Eyes, so he would never meet her at the moment, so yeah. Basically, that's 6 months from now, but this is basically taking place 6 months before Bell meets Eyes, just to let you know. Now, Bell, he's basically, grabbing he would grab a couple of them, leaving the bits behind. Now, he would get down to floor 5, as he's basically, still destroying them with one hit, and the people who are following him already stopped following him, and yeah. Now, Bell would return up from his, I would say that he got to floor 7 or 8 before he got bored, and he wanted to absorb some sunlight, because he can't keep fighting forever. Now, basically, Bell, he would leave as, Rita, this thing right here, it stores sunlight too, so he was using that as a sort of battery, so, yeah. Now, after basically, destroying everything in his path and killing a couple of Minotaurs, he would return up and he would drop off his haul. Now, they're like, you get around 100,000 Valis, I'm pretty sure that's their currency. So, Bell's like, okay. As he's like, I can afford a nice dinner, me and the goddess. So he'd walk off, and basically, the people are like, yeah, I wonder what familia he's part of, basically. He would get to his familia, or his goddess, basically, Hestia. So he would drop the money, and he's like, so, where's the food? She's like, the potato croquettes? As Belle's like, get up, we're gonna get some actual food. And she's like, yeah. Basically getting her dressed, and she would run off. She doesn't have to get in a shower because this isn't a date. So it's just, him taking her out for some food. So yeah. Now 6 months would go by as Bell has basically been doing the same thing, going down the dungeon. He hasn't really been focusing on, conquering the dungeon or going to lower floors, just because he's looking for that special someone that his his grandfather told him about. So, yeah, this is where he meets Eyes. So Bell gets attacked by the Minotaur, as he would chop off its arm and basically chop off its head. No, it would basically, but it would turn into its little, I don't really know what it turns into, but it would just disappear as a stone fall. Now, basically Eyes, who just, rushed past, she would bump into him, as she would fall. I mean, she wouldn't really fall, she would just, step back a little bit. Now, Bell is taller than what he actually is in, canon, because first of all, sunlight, it increases someone's height for some reason, and, all of that. So, I might end it off here, but now I'm gonna keep going, pause. But, yeah, now, basically, after bumping into Eyes, he would look down at her, and he's like, the first woman that I've ran into in the dungeon for a while now. And my grandpa only told me that I would basically meet her here. He didn't say I actually had to save her, so Bell, being confused with his feelings, he would say that he loves her. Now Eyes is like, okay, as he would walk off, not knowing who this person is. And Bell's like, is that not how it's supposed to work? Basically confused. Now he's thinking, his grandpa didn't really give him much to go off of. So, he's like, whatever. As he would walk out of the dungeon, after, getting doused with blood. So he's like, I have to go wash this off. Now, basically, while walking through town, basically they see this, not hulking. I would say Bell's around 7 foot, so almost as tall as that Loga guy. So, yeah. Basically, I mean, he would be the same height, so, yeah. Now, he would, walk around the town with blood dripping off of him. People were like, alright, it's Bell Cornell. Because Bell is known around the town for giving off money that he doesn't need. Because once he gave some person a whole stack of Valis just because he wanted to. So, Bell's the nice guy around town. Which Loki, sorry, I can't believe I almost fucked that up. Loki she's basically had her eye on him, but then she found out he was part of the Hestia Familia, so she was like, damn it, Hestia. So, yeah. People don't really know what Belle's level is, because, I mean, they don't really know. So, basically how Belle's level increases and decreases, I'm just going to have to explain this real quick just not to confuse someone. So, the magic power, or stamina. The more stamina that he exerts, which he has a lot of it, meaning that, his level doesn't decrease as much, but yeah, so it's basically his leveling system works as in stamina and magic power. So if his magic power drops, then his level would drop. But if his stamina his level wouldn't drop that much. I would say it would only drop by like 1, or his stats would drop. Sorry, I was confusing level and stats for some reason. I'm sorry for confusing you with that one. I'm just gonna have to get this fixed, and I'll have to explain it in my comments, because I know there's gonna be some simps who don't understand. So, instead of Belle's level decreasing, his stats will decrease. So, Belle's around level 7 now, so yeah. Now, his stats are around, his stats would be like 10,000 each, with his strength being around 11,000. You're probably wondering that's a lot because, come on, he's Belle with sunshine. So, he has sunshine. So, yeah, Belle's stats sit around 10,000 or above, which means that when he uses or exerts stamina or, magic power without the basically sun above him or near him at all, or if the sun's not beaming at him, basically his stats will decrease other than his level. So he's still at his weakest point in the night, even though he's level 7, with his stats being, in his weakest form, his stats would be around 250 each, with his attack power being a little bit below 250. So that is how his sunshine works. And remember, he can also store sunlight within his sword right here, which we'll just call Rita. Now, glad I explained that. I hope you guys understood that. I'm gonna have to, type an entire paragraph explaining it to people who just don't understand. But, yeah. So, he would return to the bank place where he would meet his banker. He would explain that he, basically, his grandpa told him that he would, meet this special woman in the dungeon, and basically that they would fall in love. And he's like, I met this woman. She's supposedly very popular or something. I don't really care. I told her I loved her, and nothing happened. Why is that, banker lady? Which he's like, this guy is way too prideful. He's like, not all women are gonna drop their panties at the sight of you, right? Which Belle's like, I mean, my grandpa's always told me that I'm a total lady killer, so that's kind of surprising. As he's like, well, whatever. As he'd be like, thank you, I'll be collecting the Valis. And he would be walking off, saying, bye, Miss Aina, and he would leave. Which I just now remembered her name. Thank God I rewatched the anime. So, yeah. Belle returned to his familia, or basically, his familia, or his basically home, where he would, get to Hestia. She's like the money, and he would drop it off. Now, Hestia already has developed that crush or love, or for the nighttime him, because the daytime him is way too cocky for her. So, yeah. Which, the nighttime Belle is like, I would say that he's like the exact same Belle from the actual canon. Naive, and, somewhat, he's just naive. He still has the determination of the Belle from canon. It's just that's his weakest form, with his highest form being cocky and prideful. Now, basically he would give the Valis to Hestia, and she'd basically buy some stuff for the house. Or for their, church or something. I don't really know where the hell they live, but yeah. Now, we're gonna skip, a day goes by as Hestia does check his stats. They don't really increase since he's already level 7. I would say that they increase by 2, meaning his nighttime stats would increase by 2, meaning that he sits around 300 each now, with his strength being a little bit over, but yeah. Now, hold on guys, I have to pause it. But yeah, they would go by, he would be passing by the I forgot what their familia was called, but he would be passing by the familia that owns the tavern. She would offer him lunch because she's like, "You're a big boy. Here." Bell's stomach growls. He takes it. He says thanks, and he throws her a cup of Valis. Now she's like, "Huh? What do you? Why would you?" And Belle's like, "What? Were you not selling me this?" She's like, "Yeah, never mind. Just go." Belle, you just walk off. She's like, he takes things way too literal. That's what she's thinking. So I'll have to pause it right here for a second. So, yeah. Belle would enter the dungeon as he would basically, destroy a couple of monsters. Now, Belle hasn't really basically descended down from the lower floors. He's hoping to see that Ainz Lollenstein person that he's heard so much about. Now, after, getting a whole day of nothing, he would leave, and he would go to basically the end that familia, basically that end. I'm not going to memorize all of their names, so just know that I'm not memorizing an entire name of freaking maids who serve people, but I'm not going to do that. So, yeah, basically he goes to that familia. He, sits down, he eats a couple of things. He's big now, he's big boy. He would be in his nighttime form. So, yeah, he would be in his nighttime form since it was around night, and he doesn't really have a reason to extend his energy. Now, basically, after sitting down, he would start to eat, and she's like, "Huh?" And she's like, "Are you that guy's basically little brother?" And Val's like, "Huh? No, that was me." She's like, "What? That was you?" And she's like, "That's not possible because he was taller and bulkier." Which Belle's like, "Yeah, I get that a lot." And he's like, "That's my daytime form." And just think of him as my sealed power. And she's like, "Oh, okay." Belle would continue to eat. The Loki familia would walk in. They would basically be bragging. And then the wolf guy would start talking stuff. Now, basically, he's talking about how that guy in the dungeon, he randomly confessed his love for Ainz Wallenstein, and he didn't even know her, which he's like, if I ever meet that guy, I'll basically, give him the what for. Now, basically, Belle, he grabs his, basically his, what's that thing called? He grabs his, I don't know why I forgot the name of his sacred sword, Rita. So, yeah. He grabs his sacred sword, Rita, puts it on his shoulder. He, drops a couple of Valis for the food. He drops around 90,000 Valis in general, or basically he just drops that much. And he says, "Thank you for the food," as he walks off. Now, as he's walking out, basically Belle will basically start to get angry because the guy is just dissing him. Now, he's basically talking about how he's a crotch smeller and all this other stuff, which then something happens. Basically, they could feel immense magic pressure, or the mage can, and the goddess can. They would look over, or basically the mage and goddess would look over. She would see the not hulking, but she would see the daytime Belle, who is buffer and taller. Now, basically, he would be like, "You over there." As he's like, "You know how to talk, you sure know how to talk big." And he's like, "But the question is, do you know how to fight?" As he looks towards basically the wolf guy, Loga. So Loga gets up and he's like, "Yeah, I know how to fight. And what's it to you?" No, he's like, "Are you that dude who, alright, like I said, if I seen you, I was gonna give you the what for." Which Ainz is like, "Sit down." And he's like, "Nah, I want this one." As Belle's like, "Huh. Kid, sit down." Which he's like, "Kid, you look younger than me." Which he's like, he really can't say he looks younger than me. He would say you look the same age as me because Belle is like the exact same height. But he would be the exact same height with the exact same muscle mass. So, yeah. Now, Belle is like, "Huh." And then the guy's like, "You really want to get beaten that badly?" As the goddess Loga, or not a goddess, basically their goddess, Loki is like, "You should sit down immediately." As basically, Bell, he would pick up his sword and he would basically put it on his shoulder. Now, the guy's talking about how he's the strongest, or he's not the strongest, but he's talking about how he's stronger than him and how he should sit down. And he's talking about how he's ventures down to lower floors than he's ever been to. Because because Ein said that he was on the level 5. So he's like, you think you're stronger than me? Now who decided that? As Bell would basically backhand him towards the ground. So he would crash into the floors, he would look up, and he's like, you. And he would use his Wolf Fang Fist. It's not really Wolf Fang Fist, but he would use his, I'm just going to call it Wolf Fist. I don't really know how to pronounce the first pronunciation, but it basically increases his speed as he would get up extremely fast, rushing behind Bell. As Bell would basically backhand him, well, not backhand him, he would just do what Vegeta did to Broly in the Broly movie. Basically, putting his hand back or swinging his hand back, punching the guy in the face. Now, Logo would fall to the ground as Bell's like, okay, kid. As he's like, you're fighting a level 7. There's nothing you can do to ever defeat me. No, he's like a level 7. I thought Ainz was the only person in this town with basically that was level 7, basically. So he's like, alright, as he would get up, and basically Loki, she would walk in front of him. Now she's like, come on, there's no need for, fighting. As she'd be like, basically, sit down, get a drink. As Bell looks over and he's like, oh, sorry, no thank you. As he's like, I don't drink. Basically picking up he already had his sacred sword Rita in his hand, but he would just basically walk off. Now, she's like, you idiot, I told you to sit down. As basically, she was like, she's like, if you had any type of magic sensory, you could sense how much pressure he was letting off. Now, she's like, damn it, Hestia, how did you get your hands on such a fine, specimen? Now, she's basically, mad at Hestia, and the guy, who just got utterly humiliated, he just gets, wipes off or basically licks his wounds, and he sits down in a chair, as the people in his familiars just start to make fun of him. Now, Ainz looks over towards the door where Deku left, where Bell left from. Now, Bell would return to his familia, as he would, he would revert back to his nighttime form, and he would, get into his building as he would lay down on the couch, going to sleep. Now, this is where I'll be ending it off here. I don't really feel like continuing it. That's how I feel, so, yeah. Now, I'm gonna go to my channel real quick and talk about some things. So, yeah. I have returned, and I'm looking at my channel right now. I have 1,960, sorry for that one, 60 subs. Now, let's get this basically to 2,000 subs by tomorrow noon. That would be cool. But, yeah, now it's time to shout out some channels. It's time to shout out some channels. Because that's what I like to freaking do. Now, basically, we're gonna go, Comic Sans Demands. He did, not him. Kid Zeus. This guy right here. If you're looking for better Bell Crenel, if you're looking for better, Bell What Ifs, go to his channel, because he's planning on releasing, basically, 2 Bell Crenel What Ifs, with one of them being what if Bell was the White Dragon Emperor, which it was a really good idea. I'm mad I didn't think of it, because I have 2 brain cells. But, yeah, he's also doing what if Bell was the Lightning Dragon Slayer. So if you're interested in any of those, you can go to his channel. And, yeah, I'm a big fan of his. Now, I've already shouted him out. I mean, you guys can go to Amaterasu Temple. What if Ollie yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how you say his name. Clockwork Highlander has way more subscribers than I do. Who is this dude? Well, he's basically, he has 748. I'm not gonna get on this. I'm not. But you guys